Welcome to Studio 58A Live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone joining us online wherever you are around the world. We really do appreciate it. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guest. And like how we have your attention, do us a favor now. Just share this video with a friend or two or 1 million so we can have a very lively discussion. Now, as we've said many times on this program, the name of the game is economic growth for Jamaica. Key in this process is equipping the productive sector, that's your manufacturing companies, your services companies, and the like, to grow and expand their operations to the point where they can export overseas and employ more persons. But at the end of the day, it takes cash to care, as they always say. And where can companies in the productive sector access funds they need to grow? One answer to that question is the EXIM Bank of Jamaica, the country's premier trade financing institution. The EXIM Bank had a banner performance in the 2018-2019 fiscal year, distributing a record $9.47 billion in loans. But the bank isn't resting on its laurels and has plans to do even better this year. Today in studio, we have with us Managing Director of EXIM Bank, Miss Lisa Bell, to share the secret to EXIM success. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Vaughn.
All right. So just for the sake of those who might not be so familiar with the agency, I know I gave a brief introduction, but what exactly is the role and function of the Export-Import Bank of Jamaica?
All right. The National Export-Import Bank of Jamaica, which is known as EXIM Bank, has been around for about 33 years. Mm-hmm. And our mandate really is to service largely the small and medium-sized sector in Jamaica, productive sector, by helping them to access the appropriate levels of finance and financial products that will allow them to grow. Ultimately, to provide more export, but even then we look at the whole value chain of export to provide support to companies who provide goods and services to exporters.
Okay. And so what are some of the instruments that you provide? What are some of the things that a company can come to you and get? What kind of financing do you offer?
Well, traditionally, a company may need different types of financing for different reasons. So we offer both short-term financing, which is largely called working capital financing. That's how funds to allow the company to operate on a day-to-day basis. Working capital financing. And that usually has a term of no longer than a year. Usually about 6 months.
So short to me, but okay.
6 months and rotating. And then we have what we call medium-term financing, which is to finance the purchase of equipment, more capital items, equipment, infrastructure, that kind of stuff. And that we can go up to 6 years to provide. We also have a very unique product called trade credit insurance, which provides protection to our exporters who are selling to overseas companies who may need some protection in assuring themselves that their overseas buyer, will be able to pay them.
All right, so let me ask you this now: just how competitive are your interest rates? If I'm a MSME or a company just coming up there, why should I come to you?
Well, we try. Even though the cost of financing is very, very important, we pride ourselves on being more than just a low cost provider. We actually provide good service to our customers. EXIM's hallmark is being able to become a friend to our customer. And many of our customers we have seen through the good and the bad and the indifferent, quite frankly. And it's about building a relationship with your client where your banker understands the nuances of your business and can structure the financing that you need in order to meet those ebbs and flows, which are normal in any business. I would even dare say, Vaughn, that most of the large companies in Jamaica, have passed through EXIM at one point or the other.
Good stuff. No, that just brings me to the question. That's the big question. How did you do it? Last year was a record year. You put out, in times when people talk about them now have no money and business slow and things rough and times hard, EXIM is showing people that things are going out there, and there are companies out there willing to take the chance and invest and get the money and expand their operations. So the question is, how did you position yourselves to really take advantage of that demand out there?
It was a lot of hard work, and having a good team behind you certainly helps. And I think we've built up a reputation of being a friend to our customers. So it was easy to to try and reach out to our customers. The fact is that the macroeconomic situation in Jamaica is changing. It's have improved dramatically. And quite frankly, in keeping with the overall government mandate, we need to promote growth. Now is the time to retool. Now is the time to take advantage of new markets.
It really tell the business operators out there.
My young entrepreneurs, now is the time. Now is the time to look for new opportunities and try and get them financed. Interest rates are at historical lows, and therefore we believe it's a good time to be borrowing. We've also gone into some strategic partnerships. I'm sure you've heard of our 4.5% loan to small and medium enterprises in the tourism sector.
Right, yes.
And really that is just making sure that all arms of government are aligned along growth trajectories.
Right.
So we understand that tourism is growing. I mean, only recently, if you're watching the television, you saw Minister Bartlett opening yet another hotel.
Right, with 800 rooms with
absolutely. Well, we want to make sure that the Jamaican companies that provide goods and services to that sector benefit from that growth. So a special product was crafted about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago maybe, to assist companies who provide goods or services to the tourism sector to take advantage of the growth that is coming. And we found that very, very successul. The very good thing about it is that it's at 4.5%. There is no other loan in that at 4.5%. It's amazing. And we've seen the response. It really tells us that with rates coming down, it is a good time to take advantage. And we want to take advantage of where the growth poles are.
All right. So, I mean, is it the case that is primarily those growing industries that you see the take up of these loans and these different instruments that it's happening? I mean, tourism, you have a specific instrument for the tourism sector, but what are some of the other sectors that you see out there really taking advantage of the opportunities to grow their business?
It's a number of different sectors. It's mining, it's agro-processing.
Mining is curious because it only seems like it's recently mining started to pick up. So who is out there? What kind of?
The truth is with this resurgence of the bauxite sector, there have been opportunities in mining. So we're seeing a number of mining companies, contractors or subcontractors to the mining industry coming for financing. We've also seen a number of agro-processors. You see, really it is in the areas where Jamaica has a competitive advantage. Right. And once you have a competitive advantage, it makes sense for you to move to expand and to grow.
Now, in terms of, you mentioned, I was curious to get your opinion, because as you said, the loan uptake seems to be pegged to the fact that people seem to believe that there are growth opportunities here, that there's opportunities to really expand their business and see some return on their investment and stuff like that. So how do you describe the economic climate and how it's going based on what you're seeing in terms of the uptake of the loans and how people are coming to you and the kind of services they're requesting?
Well, let me tell you the truth. There's always opportunity, There's always challenge, but every time you have a challenge, it means that there's an opportunity for growth, right? If you find the right solution. What has been happening, yes, Jamaica has gone through a very tough period of readjustment. The IMF agreement has been in place and it has constrained the growth in the country, but we're seeing the results. If you listen to Minister Clark's presentation or Minister Shaw, or in fact the Prime Minister, the macroeconomic indicators are showing improvements that we have not seen in years. And the truth is, it is time, as I said before, for our entrepreneurs to take advantage of the opportunities.
All right, we're here speaking with Miss Lisa Bell, Managing Director of the EXIM Bank, sharing some secrets to the success of the agent of the bank. Basically, I mean, they are doing well. They are providing loans to our productive sector, and people are taking them up. And like I said, $9.47 billion speaks for itself. I'm just checking in online. Thank you to Juliet Bent. Says she's watching from Ballards Valley, St. Elizabeth. Thank you, Juliet. Appreciate that. Our regular watcher, Avon Peralta Nichols. Thank you for your eyes. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for sharing the program as well. We really do appreciate that. And if you have any questions and comments, please feel free to send them in. Now, Miss Bell, in terms of getting people to appreciate, as we were talking before we went live, we're talking about the fact that there are many other opportunities in other areas of the country. It seems like a lot of things seem piled up and located primarily in the corporate area. What have other areas outside of the country, rural areas, basically how much is to encourage the entrepreneurs to look wider, cast their glance further, and realize that there are opportunities.
It's funny, Vaughn, as we're talking, I was telling you I met with Minister Green this morning, and we were talking about some of the opportunities he sees in his constituency in St. Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. Now, anyone knows that St. Elizabeth is a breadbasket of the country, right, and produce a great deal of high-quality agricultural produce. And he was saying there are opportunities, and I have the pleasure of sitting on what is called the Tourism Linkage Council, where we're trying to deepen the linkages between tourism and other sectors. And agriculture is one of the biggest growth areas, or possibilities for growth. So we were talking about strategies we could use to catalyze the farmers who are living in the St. Elizabeth area to structure programs that will allow them to produce more, that don't have to be exported overseas, that have to be driven onto the north coast or the south coast, as the case may be. So there are opportunities across the length and breadth of this country, whether it be in agriculture or in tourism or in mining or in manufacturing. It is just for us to reach out and tell those entrepreneurs. And as I said, EXIM is planning a program coming up in the very near future of going to those areas rather than you coming into Kingston, for us going to you to explain the opportunities that are available through the EXIM Bank, as well as just to motivate you that now is the time to think about expansion.
No, I'm going to get to the topic of the EXIM Bank's business advisory services, but I wanted to explain to persons watching or persons who might be interested in coming in and doing business with EXIM what makes for a good proposal, what makes for a good pitch to come through, what makes them, I suppose, clear the hurdles. What are some of the things that you look for to make sure that this person can qualify? What, in terms of getting your house in order before you come there and present yourself as, seeking a loan or some kind of financing?
I agree, and that is very important because we know that many small enterprises struggle in that area. And when we talk about the business advisory services, I'll tell you a little bit more what we're doing in that regard. But it's important when you're approaching any financial institution, EXIM or otherwise, that you have a well thought out business plan, and you've written it down, quite frankly, that looks at the various components of your business and analyzes them in a way that we can make a determination whether you're credit worthy or not. At the end of the day, we're lending you money with the expectation that you're going to pay it back.
Exactly.
And we're lending it in the context not only of what you said you're going to do, but guess what? Let's say it doesn't work quite the way you wanted it to work.
Which is
we apply, exactly, which happens every day to a small enterprise, small and medium-sized enterprise. Will you be able to absorb those shocks and still be able to repay the loan?
Right.
So it is thinking through all the aspects, whether it be marketing, accounting, of your business, and presenting that in a business plan, getting your financial projections done, pro forma balance sheet, pro forma P&L, so that we can look at it, apply that sensitivity that I just spoke about, and then feel comfortable that you are a good risk. Above all, and I know bankers were saying, we bank a person.
Tell them, right.
Know your customer. It is important that you as a customer present as being creditworthy, being honest, of integrity, such that we can be assured that we are going to manage the government's money well.
All right. So I have a couple questions here online. Candice Kristen, thank you, Candice. Appreciate the question. It says, at what level should businesses be producing in order to benefit from opportunities with the EXIM Bank?
There's no specific answer to that question because we look at each loan on a case-by-case basis. Ideally, we would like you to be in operation for 2 years so that we have some historicals that we can analyze. But beyond that, we want to know that you're in a good business and you've thought it through. You've got good governance structures so that we can analyze it and then make a determination of what's the best financing. And you also need to know what you want. Is it short term? Is it medium term? What are you trying to finance? What are the risks associated with what you're trying to do, whatever project you're trying to execute? But there's no standard. We're going to look at all aspects of the business. So we encourage you to come in. Let us tell you no.
All right. Shoot your shot. I mean, come in and present your opportunity with them and let's see where it goes. Don't just assume that because your business might be at this scale or at this level, you don't think you qualify. Nothing like that. Right?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, next question, it says, does the bank possibly have a general list of areas that Jamaica has an advantage in to share with those who have ideas of small businesses who may not realize they could expand and grow?
We don't have a specific listing, but certainly there are areas. And I think if someone is interested in that, they could also approach JAMPRO, Jamaica Promotions Agency, particularly in the context of export development and export promotion. They may be able to identify some areas. But also, if you go to the National Export Strategy, or you look at there's certain government Vision 2030, those documents outline areas that we know that we want to grow in. BPO, the BPO sector, those documents kind of provide some information about where the government is going. If you're a young entrepreneur, listen to the budget debate. Listen to the presentations from your various ministers, and they will tell you what the strategic priorities are. And if you're aligned to one of those areas, you know you're likely going to find support.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. In terms, I guess now is a good time to talk about the business advisory services. What exactly does that provide to
well, let me give you a little background, Vaughn. Years ago, we realized that, financing is both one of the issues that a small enterprise or a medium-sized enterprise faces. There are broader issues in terms of marketing, accounting, how to use social media, how to use the media to maximize the sale of your product.
Update your business to 21st century.
Absolutely. So we wanted to make sure that we were helping our customers understand some of those other issues relating. Now, we can't give direct advice because that would be a moral hazard, conflict. We can't tell you what to do and then, and if you don't do it, and then lend your money, right?
Sounds kind of insider trading.
So, but what we do is through our business advisory services unit is to provide broad-based advice. So we'll have workshops that talk about, how can you position your product, how to use social media for your advancement, what are best accounting packages, how to write a business plan. We do have those workshops from time to time on a group basis, and we also have our website, EXIM Bank ja.com, which we're about to relaunch, which we're trying to provide additional tools and information for SMEs that need them, that are outside of strict financing.
Right. Now, another one of the things I read, before I even get there, you said that based on what I've read in researching this topic and coming to bring you on here, it says that you guys are looking to overshoot this 9.47 billion that you did last year, looking to try and do even better than that. And you feel confident, do you feel confident you can do it?
Boy, let me tell you, I'm a perpetual optimist, and maybe that's one of my misgivings. But I have a chairman who is Butch Hendrickson, owner and CEO of National, who keeps me, and my board by extension, who keeps me very motivated. I think we share the vision in the context that if this country is going to grow, we have to unlock the private sector, unlock those enterprises that can deliver growth and jobs, innovation, etc. And to that extent, we know that our ability to achieve that growth is directly tied to providing financing to them. So we are motivated to surpass. Of course, I've said to my minister on many occasions, you only can lend as much as you have.
Right.
So additional funding is always required if we're going to have higher levels of impact. But I think if we do get that funding, we will be able to see higher levels of impact.
Which brings me to the next topic, that I understand that you are in agreement with the government's trust to see if we can activate those dormant funds in people's accounts so we can use that as a mechanism to lend money to our MSMEs so we can start unlocking SMEs as you mentioned.
I mean, when we realized that a couple of years ago, and we're finally happy, I actually sit on the steering committee that's looking at the use of unclaimed funds.
Right.
And it is actually shocking that we can have money sitting down in a bank that is just sitting there when it could be mobilized for greater use. And in many other countries, most developed countries, there are more friendly strategies, policies as it relates to the use of unclaimed funds. As it is now, I think our laws say that we can't touch those funds for 15 years. In most other countries, it is 7 years.
Or less.
Or less in many cases, with their adequate provisions, of course. Let us say the provisions must be there. But it could unlock as much as $15 billion for $30 billion. I mean, there are a number of different numbers that are being thrown out, but by any stretch of the imagination, it's a significant sum of money. And what a better sector to apply these funds to the very sector that is going to deliver growth for the country.
Absolutely.
And have impact across the board. Let me tell you, when you see change, it is real. We have customers who may come to us in 1 year that wants, let us say, financing for a piece of equipment. And they have 5 employees. And by the provision of that equipment, they double their sales. They're hiring new people. The CEO looking a little better every day, driving a pretty car. No, but
you get the idea.
You get the idea. That's how you see the movement. And if you think about that, I tell my staff all the time, if you close your eyes and multiply that across the length and breadth, that is how you transform a country.
Definitely. Agreed. Candice Christine, another question. She's asking, in terms of your business advisory services, do those workshops or the assistance, does it come at a cost?
Usually they come at a nominal cost. I'm not saying they're free. Sometimes we get them sponsored and we're in partnership and we're able to offer them free, but usually the cost is very nominal. We have they're normally held at our offices at 85 Hope Road. We have a training facility that is actually built to allow our customers to have their training there, but also for us to offer these workshops.
Another question from Avon Parata Nichols. Thank you guys. Keep the questions coming. She says, is there a publicized schedule of workshop dates and locations for interested citizens to access?
No, there is not a publicized workshop quite there, but I'm going to have a time of marketing manager. Clearly we have to do that. But what we do is from time to time, you'll see, you have to just keep abreast of our website. You can make it your homepage. That would even excite me even more. And then you will see the workshops coming up and and we try to advertise them fairly often.
All right. Sounds good. It sounds really good. I am one who definitely believes that you have to unlock the private sector to really achieve the real growth. That's where you're going to get the jobs. That's where you're going to get people with money in their pockets. That's where you're going to get, and once that happens, that's when you're going to see the real growth of the country.
But you know what, Vaughn, I don't want it to cut you, but you know what is also amazing about SMEs? They deliver innovation.
Exactly. Even better, of course.
They think of ways of doing things that other large companies take much longer to find.
Right.
And that's why they're important.
And that's when somebody comes to you with their dream in their pocket and says, I know I can make this successful. I know this is going to be a successful business in Jamaica. And you will lend them that money and you see them a year from then actually doing the do.
Absolutely. It's very rewarding. And we have companies in our portfolio who were struggling 6-7 years ago, but we've held their hand through the struggle and seen them back to profitability.
Let me just touch on that for a second in terms of that kind of hand holding and so on. Well, I want to ask you, what are some of the weaknesses inherent when you come and, for example, you see a company comes to you, you can size them up at first. What are some of the common things that you see them come with? Apart from not necessarily having an organized business plan and so on, but in terms of trying to run the business from day to day, what are some of the weaknesses that you identify?
Some of the weaknesses, particularly with small enterprises, is when you see the owner trying to do everything. Right? Okay. And owner is usually very experienced in the core business.
They can do they can deliver the product.
Absolutely, but they may not have the appropriate accounting assistance, or they're not quite sure how to market the product. And a failure to reach out to get those kinds of services is usually a red flag. Exactly. Also, if the entrepreneur is not passionate about the business.
Why would you put up your money to start a business that you're not passionate about? I can't fathom that, but
it happens. It does happen, but that passion tells us about how vested the entrepreneur is in making the business work.
All right, and those are some of the... So, there you have it. If you're coming to EXIM Bank, show some passion. Don't just come and just start a business for starting its sake and hope it works out.
Absolutely. We want to know you've thought it through, and we are going to partner with you. We don't want to run your business. We want to know that you are running your business and we are helping you run your business.
All right. I'm thinking I'm running out of questions to ask you, which is a good thing, actually. So basically, as we said, $9.47 billion in loans last year. That shows you that Jamaica is making moves in terms of the private sector and energizing the private sector, the SME sector, to make persons out there start businesses, create opportunities for themselves so they don't necessarily have to wait for a salary from a boss. You can create your own opportunity, and the institutions exist to provide that kind of assistance for you. EXIM is right here. Get in contact with them, show them a business plan, show them what you want to do, and I'm sure that they can find a solution just for you that can help you take your business from idea to complete success. So I'm just going to give the last word to you, Ms. Bell, in terms of letting persons know how EXIM is operating and how much they'll walk with you, talk with you, and take you through to make your business be successful.
Thanks, Vaughn. I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to speak directly to entrepreneurs, and I truly appreciate it, because sometimes they need to just see that it's not a mystery, it's not a difficult thing. Financing is really just creating a platform for you to achieve your dreams. EXIM Bank has been around for 33 years, as I said before, and we've been helping small and medium-sized businesses to achieve their dreams. So I'm encouraging you to come in and talk to one of our loan officers, and not even in a cliche kind of way. Let us help you understand how to get the financing you need to get to the next level.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to, you can check them out online at eximbankja.com. You can call them at 876-630-1400 or 876-618-5889. Or you can send an email to info@eximbankja.com. You can also check them out on Facebook and Twitter, because everybody's on social media nowadays. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. EXIM Bank, go out there, see if you can dust off that business plan or that idea you've had in the back of your mind for the longest while, just never quite had the confidence to go out there and start. Dust it off, give it the once over, try to turn it into a business plan, go out there and get the help. Talk to EXIM, see if we can make it a reality. That's how our country is going to grow. That's how we are going to realize the vision that we have for our country. And I'm sure everybody wants to make their family successful. So take advantage of this opportunity. I mean, 4% loans. I mean, come on. Who does that?
4.5%, but we're good.
Who does that? Right?
He's speaking it into being.
There you go. You heard it here first when it does happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to wrap. Thanks to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in questions and comments. We really and truly do appreciate it. Even Peralta, Nichols, and Candice Kristen, appreciate your comments. And if you have a question and we didn't get, if you have a question, you want to send it in, go ahead. We'll be going through afterwards and we'll be able to answer them. And if not, if we can answer it, we'll channel it to Miss Bell and her staff so they can answer the question for you. Remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. If there is anyone you'd like for us to have in studio, let us know, and we'll try our best to have that person in studio as soon as possible. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. We do this every Thursday, live on Facebook, and I have been your host, Vaughn Davis. This has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you again for joining us, and please have a wonderful day.